All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Very excited to go ahead and start a very important webinar that we are realizing that many people you know, don't understand how dangerous and how equipped the hackers are getting and to what extent they're coming to. At this moment, let me share my screen, everybody. Here we go. Let me move this out the way. Okay. At this moment, the vendor impersonation is one of the biggest scams in Florida. So just to start us out, let's imagine this, guys. Imagine, a real estate agent receives an email from what appears to be their regular photographer, because to sell good real estate, you need to have good images to attract the people to come. So one of the easiest things that people do is hire a photographer. That email comes in, the branding looks right, the tone sounds familiar. The message says, your photos from today's listings are ready. Download here. The agent clicks the link without knowing malware is now installed, and the hacker starts forwarding all the future emails threads to themselves. So that way, a few days later, when a client is preparing to wire the funds, the attacker replies inside the same email thread, and it's just perfect timing to send them fake wire instructions. So obviously, the client follows the instructions. Once the funds are sent, they're gone. And these scenarios are happening weekly, if not daily, all throughout the United States and Canada. And you don't hear about it until it's on the news, right? And a lot of times it's only the big companies that appear in the news. So that's why, our goal is to be able to, to help educate everybody and teach them, what's going on and so that way they understand. So again, my name is Dennis Patino. I am the founder of Mostro Cybersecurity and Compliance. I got into this because I was the founder of Absolute Marketing, a Google partner firm, and a bunch of my clients for the last few years started getting hacked and ransomware. They would call me desperately asking me to help them. At the time, I didn't know anything about this. I told them, talk to your IT company. They're like, no, we already did. They don't have a clue. And that's when I started doing a lot of research and I saw the writing on the wall. Hacking is a huge business that anticipates $10 trillion a year business. And now with AI, everything was going to keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse for the small business owners. Huge corporations, they got big teams, big departments, all these things to help defend. But the small to medium-sized businesses, they don't have anything, and they don't even have access to the softwares, the tools that are going to give them the proper protection. And that was our goal when we built Mostro, was to build a monster that's going to defend the small guys with the best tools that exist on the market. And that's what we do, and that's what we bring to the table. And that's why Suncoast Real Estate Association asked us to go ahead and continue to educate our community, our neighbors, so we can all help and protect ourselves. Because as a small business owner, you employ other families in your community, and if one company gets hacked and ransomed and shuts down, that affects multiple families. And that's our goal, to be able to help and protect everyone against that happening. So let's just dive in a little bit on some of the things that that are happening. Why are realtors targets? That's the main thing. It's like, why? And the real reason is that realtors, they they're in the business of attracting buyers, right? So they have to market themselves everywhere, from social medias, TV, newspaper, magazines. They put their information everywhere because they want people to know, hey, I am open. I have this property for sale, or if you want to sell your property, and they put all their information, all their listings, all that stuff publicly. So now scammers, what they do is that they mimic the vendors, and their goal is to send fake invoices, photo links, or DocuSigns. Um, and you're like, why? Why would they do that? And it's because they know the chain. If they're not cared about, the $200 for the photos that you're paying, them. They don't care about trying to get that money. What they care about is the big picture, by being able to get inside of your environment. And then when you're sending wiring instructions to your client or vice versa, that's normally thousands of dollars that the buyer is going to wire to the title company or anything like that, and that's their main end game, is to go after that. But how do they get in there is through these other things. And it's not like you see in the movies when a hacker gets into your system where the red lights and sirens are going off. No, it's none of that. It's really, quiet. They're gathering all the information, all the credentials, seeing and then moving laterally. They're seeing like, oh, can I move in here? Where can I go to keep gathering as much information as possible? And if you don't have the proper, technology to protect, then you're a sitting duck. And that's what we're seeing. And that's why we're doing this. And that's why we've written these ebooks. And I encourage everyone, go to our website, mostrocybersecurity.com, and download our free ebooks. We're on 3 that are real estate related, one for title companies, one for real estates, and the other one's for mortgage brokers. So this is valuable information. Check what I have right here. Florida alone has saw hundreds of thousands just from last year of vendor impersonations that, you know, and this is, they're not hacking your systems. They're hacking the trust. Because if it's one of your vendors, somebody you communicate, you do business with for a long time, your guard is down. It's like when you're your house and your buddy's like, oh, just come over, the door's open. It's somebody you already know and trust. You're not like, have to verify who they are. And that's where we put in a lot of the zero trust mentalities, that, you trust nothing and verify everything. So, I want us to quickly show you this quick video. Let me pull it up here, because when I saw it, I was like, I'm not going to play the whole video. It's like 8 minutes long, but I wanted you to kind of see
How
the
often do you
first
get
few minutes
fake
of it.
buyers who
Check this out.
pretend to want to buy like a $20 million place?
All the time. All the time. It's a flex. It's always a guy who then brings a girl and he's looking at something for $40 million. And yeah, I'm going to wire you this. There's so much wire fraud, bank fraud. Like, it's just gross. It's so annoying. We just had it.
Yeah.
We've had it multiple times this year. I think we've become much more adept of trying to smell things out. But con artists have become very, very capable. Like, very, especially with AI now. Like, the bank statements are amazing. They can get bankers on the phone, but it's just AI. Like, fake everything, and you just don't know, and then the money never hits, and it's just all
What's
bullshit.
the point of doing that? And like getting to the very end, and then the
To
money
feel cool. Sometimes what I used to think it was, especially when it's foreigners, is they take a contract and they sell it overseas. So they'll say, listen, I've got this $20 million place for $12 million. Give me 10,000, come in on it with me. And they'll use that contract to sell people, and they'll steal money from other unsuspecting individuals. A lot of times though, it's just someone who's crazy and they like to feel important. And so a real estate agent, if everything checks out, they call the banker, it's fake. There's wild stories. They take you to dinner. I'll send you a car. Yeah, no problem. I'll put you up in my hotel. No problem. Your budget's 50 million. Oh, absolutely. Oh, your girlfriend's so beautiful. Yeah, I'm happy to give you my discount at the store. And they do that for a week, and then they just ghost. And they just do that city after city after city.
How do you
So they're a
vet that,
career
though?
fake buyer?
There's career con artists. There's career assholes. Career dirtbags. Yeah, of course.
So I encourage you guys to, watch the whole thing. It's it's pretty informative. That gentleman, he's on the hit show on Netflix. I think he said Selling New York or something like along those lines, selling $1 million. And so you can imagine all the stuff that he's seeing. So one of the main things that we want to help you guys is how to know how to stop and fake invoices cold, right? Because these are some of the scenarios that we're seeing, and these are some of the things that we can put in place to help prevent fake invoices, right? One is by having the policy that we're not gonna allow payments to be paid from your mobile phone. I know it's extremely convenient, and something comes in, I'll click here, pay. But the reason is that hackers can easily, how do I say, manipulate the small screen. You can't really verify because you're on the go. And then and we're seeing a lot of hackers getting paid through mobile transactions. So if you guys just say we are not paying anybody through mobile, that will help you increase your protection dramatically. You sit down at a desk and then you're able to see everything, the full picture, a full screen, be able to do all the different verifications we're going to talk about. So that is one of the first things you need to put in place is no payments through mobile devices. Also, just verifying the W-9. A lot of times they send over new updated things, and if you guys aren't auditing monthly, what is the new banking information? Nothing's changed, right? Whitelisting. Whitelisting means that you take someone's email that you're constantly doing business with and you put it in your back end of your email server that's sending out the emails, and it lets it know that this email, if somebody sends it directly from his email, it's able to come in freely, right? And that way, if there's any variations to it, it's going to immediately flag because you didn't whitelist that email. And that's just something that's a first line of defense. And there's obviously much more to that, but that's something. And then the second one is having a separate inbox. The one on here, a separate inbox, a separate email that's only for payables. So that way you know, and you're not bombarded by, like me, I got 1,000 emails a day, and it's like looking, and you're just delete, and then you're in that mode. But if you have a separate email address that's only for payables, then when you take the time to sit down and look at it, then you're just concentrating on what I need to pay, and then you're able to implement. So these are just simple things that you guys can, implement to help protect. That's why we put in, the 60-second verification. And you're going to think like, well, why? Well, because if you don't, we're talking about some serious money that's lost, and possible FTC fines and fees and all these things, reputation damage. That's like, why not, take the 60 seconds to verify before? One of the easiest things is a domain check. This is hard to do from your cell phone, is hover over the email address and look and see if one of the characters is off. Like right there, like this, obviously this is an example. The zero looks like an O. It's going to be hard for you to realize that on a mobile phone. So, call and text, your stored number, not the one in the email. That's what the hackers would say. Oh, if any questions, just, call me here. And people are like, oh, they're so busy. They're quickly doing it on the phone or whatever, and they just see the number, they call, and then that number's not even their stored number. And like we talked about 2 weeks ago about deep fakes, where they can impersonate the calls, that they can use AI, like this gentleman just said, that they said, yeah, we're gonna get the banker on the line, and it's AI pretending it's the banker. So this is the level of sophistication that we are dealing with, guys. And that's why we need to have these proper rules in place to help protect us. Ask for specifics, verify bank details, document everything. We are the firewall right now. This is stuff that's human things that if we don't put this into place, and we think that we're so busy, it could turn around and bite us. And that's what we're trying to just show you guys and teach you guys, these simple things that we can help. Another thing is the collaboration. If you use OneDrive or Google Drive, it's required for them to sign in. Don't ever just send, what is it, files, in a shared document, a folder that's wide open to anybody. Right? That's one of the worst things you can do. You want to ban it. Nobody can just send you zip files or all these different attachments, and everything needs to be shared and verified from vendor only. In Outlook and Google, you can hover over those invites and preview the URL. This is extremely important, guys, to have your assistants, any secretaries, force them that they have to do this, because 90% of the hacks all come in through an email where you clicked on a link you shouldn't have, and the hackers got into your system. So if you don't do these things and protect yourselves, it's going to be very, very tough for you guys to win in this battle. So, and you're thinking, well, what's, not only the payment, but what's the big deal? It's that this is all part of compliance. This is all part of what the FTC rule requires you to have vendor oversight and due diligence. So you need to start honestly analyzing, who am I working with? It's like my mom used to say, what is it? Tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you where you're going to end up in life. Well, similar to, to this, if you're dealing with, vendors who don't care about cybersecurity, don't care about compliance, are working all willy-nilly, then, you have a risk there. There's a lot of people we're working with that are realizing the importance of this, and that they're going to use this as a marketing advantage to work with other uh, businesses, and using it to their advantage to say, hey, work with us, because not only are we doing everything proper and we have, enterprise level cybersecurity that's going to protect you and your clients, but we have also all the compliance that's going to protect you guys. And then now, as a smart business owner, you're going to realize, do I keep working with company A that I've known for years, but they don't care about any of this stuff? They're not investing in any of this. They're not doing none of that. Or should I switch over to a more proactive company that is taking this super serious, and that's going to help protect my business and my reputation? And that's the choice that right now many smart realtors, not just overall businesses, are starting to realize that they'd rather go with the latter, and have these policies and have all these things in place. Because, guys, it's going to be about to be 2026. You see what's going on with AI. It's only going to keep growing, and it's important that we have these things in place. So what I want to talk about now, it's how our security and technology matters. Like, why we do what we do, and the stuff that we are able to bring to the table, which normally it wasn't available unless you are a huge enterprise company. It's tough for your people to fight AI powered scams alone. It's just tough. We're busy. We don't have time to be looking at this. AI fraud is moving faster than we think. Attackers are using all kinds of, like I said, emails, invoices, vendor identities. You need AI defense is required to counter any of the AI attacks. And it's funny, I was talking about with this with one of my friends. Are like, oh my, it's like almost the Terminator time, and it's like we need all these things, or the Matrix, and it's like, yeah, it's crazy, but those are movies from 20, 30 years ago, and this is where we're going to, that we need AI to help us defend against AI, and we have that. And that's what we bring to the table to help and make it affordable for a small business here to be able to take advantage of this. So what our platform does, it learns your habits. It learns who are your real vendors, right? It maps any normal behavior, their timing, their tone, their history, and then it identifies when a message pretends to be a known vendor, right? It flags and quarantines. It's basically like a caller ID, but for email, documents, and any communication behavior. That is, you know, the top level of email protection that you have. And these are just some of the things that it does. Another thing is in real time threat analysis. Real time, because there's other things that I've seen, but it lets you know, like later on, an hour later, it's delayed, and by then you're so in such in a hurry that you already clicked, you already did this, you did that, and then realize, oh, this wasn't something I needed to do, and you need real time threat analysis, right? And like we talked about in the deep fakes, our technology, it helps you know if someone in a video conference is who they're saying who they are, because of all this technology, all the metadata, all this, pixels, all of these different things. It helps you protect, so you can work. You guys don't have time to analyze this stuff, but that's what our system does for you guys. And like I said, this is very, very affordable. When we have our one-to-one meetings, we will be more than happy to show this, break this down for you. And this is what we were talking about, is that it protects your entire um, transaction chain. So when you're talking with your inspectors, your photographers, title reps, attorneys, appraisals, loan officers, all that stuff, it's blocking any impersonations, stuff that it has already determined it's something's off. It blocks it, and then it lets us, and then it notifies us, and then we say, hey, Mr. Realtor, look what this is. This a real person? Let's call and verify, because something's off, before it just letting it into your inbox and then potentially, damaging your company, your business, your reputation. So it maintains the compliance, all the integrity, all that stuff for your whole ecosystem. Another big thing, it's that it helps stop any files and any links. One of the scams that the hackers are using, and that legacy type of protection, it's the old school way. It's that it would scan. Let's say you had email protection. A hacker would send an email with an attachment, but when the email would scan it, it scanned the email, and it would say like, oh, that attachment looks safe, let it go through. But once it went through, it would then transform and convert into malware. But it was already in, right? So what good is that? And our system detects all that stuff, and it protects it even after it notifies and blocks and anything like that. So it's not like once it's through, it's through. No, it's this is, like I said, enterprise next level. This is what the top companies use, and that's what we're bringing to the table to help protect all these different things. Because, like we said, this is one of the Florida's top scams, is these different types of impersonations, and how they're able to get in and hurt us. So that's our goal. Um, the automated, like I said, we don't have time to go in like one by one. Our system does this automatically for you guys to help protect. So there's no guessing, no waiting, no clicking on dangerous messages, zero delay, all these things. And that's what us working together and being your strategic partner would help you guys protect. So oh, yeah, that was it. Oh, okay. So here we go. So guys, we like to end with this. Is your business is smart, but is your cybersecurity, is your compliance? And that's why, talking to more people in the real estate industry, we're realizing that a lot of people are still working like they did, 15, 20 years ago, when this wasn't a thing. you know Now we use technology for everything, and that's why we highly, highly encourage everyone to take us up on our offer. The star members getting this, what is it, the Suncoast Real Estate Association has blocked off a certain amount of penetration tests that we are giving complimentary. This is a $5,000 value. I know down here says $5,000 value. This is on a different thing. But what this test does, it's like I said, 90% of the hacks come in through an email. So this test, it simulates like you or one of your assistants, or realtors, agents, whoever clicked on the link, and the hacker got into your whole computer, into your environment, into your network, into whatever, and it scans and analyzes, and it gives us a very, very detailed report that then we convert it to an executive summary, and it breaks down everything to say, hey, you guys are in great shape, you don't need anything, or no, look at all the vulnerabilities, all the weak spots we uncovered, and we need to fix this now before a hacker finds it and uses AI to exploit it. So that test alone, if you Google average cost of a penetration test on Google, easily $5,000 and up to even over 50 grand, depending on how large of a company you have. We are doing this complimentary just so we can prove and show everybody. So that's the first part. The second part at the bottom, the discount, is that being part of star members, after we do this test, and if we determine you guys need our help for either cybersecurity, any IT or compliance programs, any of that stuff, you guys, for being a star member, get a special 25% discount for the life of the contract. Guys, that is a huge, 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 value that we are giving our community. You know, I live here in this Tampa area, and our goal is to continue to help our whole communities, our community, and that's why we're offering all this free webinars, free ebooks, free penetration tests, free domain scans to make sure that your emails are not spoofable and all this stuff, guys. So I highly encourage you to, you know, I'm going to put this on here to scan and book an appointment. It's complimentary. Guys, our goal is to share, and educate. All of us as business owners, everyone's business is their baby, right? Um, and as a new father, I have two children under 3 years old. I want to make sure and give my kids the best possible things, you know, that I can. And all of our businesses, they're our babies. And one of the main things that unfortunately we're seeing is that many people take the approach that say like, oh, I've never been hacked before, so why do I need to even worry about this? And it's like, that's great, you've never been hacked, but if a hack does happen, 60% of businesses close their doors. 60 guys. Just let that sink in. So don't become a statistics, you know, get out in front of it, be proactive, take advantage of our promotions, take advantage of all this information we're giving, because in this knowledge is power. So again, my name is Dennis Pitino. Thank you for being a part of our webinar series. I believe our next one's in 2 weeks, and we have a couple more to finish off the year. And make sure to follow us on our social medias. Go to our website, mostrocybersecurity.com. Go to our YouTube channel and look at all the previous webinars. We are just doing our best to educate and give as much information as possible. All right. So again, signing off, Dennis Pitino, Mostro Cybersecurity and Compliance. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for joining us.